time it is. Marvin Devine, Hoover, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Whip game cool, make them look like cool. Always play cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL and Hoover, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is.
You see, I want a kidney, I need a kidney, and I've tried everything to get a kidney. All right, they said there was a lot of ways of trying to get a kidney, okay? So I got cards, I got postcards, I got keychains, I don't know what else to get. I got t-shirts. It got so bad, I even got gloves and yellow gloves, pink gloves. I mean, gloves and bracelets and everything to try to raise awareness, bumper stickers. I just don't know what else to do. I tried everything. I did everything I could to try to get this kidney. I tried calling the news. I tried everything. I tried billboards. You just name it. I've tried everything. I just don't know what else to do. Trying to make it my awareness all over the community. I just don't know what to do. You know what? Wait a minute. What's that Advocate lady? That Advocate, and with so many shows on that channel or something like that. What is it? Uncle Jim has something with kidney stories, and what the other one, Bella, she has the Sisters Against Kidney Disease. Oh man, the other one with the transplant thing, the Shada, and Tamika and Steve, Urban Talk, and Warriors Quest, right? That was Warriors Quest that did the thing with the transplant. I need to get on that show. That's just what I think. But I'm going to call Lisa Baxter first because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in a kidney world. Hi, guys. Happy Sunday to you. Yes. There you go. That's right. I'm on this side of the room again. I don't know what's going on with the green screen. But poop, what can you do? We're still gonna have a show, aren't we? Aren't we? Aren't we? I got a fantabulous guest for you guys. Happy Sunday and welcome to the show. Woo, you won't believe the whole thing. Let me describe my guest for you and tell you. This woman is too much and she is something else. I just love her. Yes, I do. Okay, Roberta Reed. Roberta Reed, she's a mom. She's a mom to be reckoned with. That's a mom that's an advocate. Such an advocate that she advocated for her son to get a kidney. I can tell you she's an executive manager and, was a former accountant. I can tell you those good things. But I'm telling you what really blows her up, the fact that she advocated for her baby. I ain't mad at you. Y'all better tune in and listen. Welcome to the Lisa Baxter Show. Come on, Roberta, do your thing. Woo!
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you? How are you? Thank you for taking the time out to be on the show and come to the show. Man, when I saw and had your story, I had to have you. I had to have you. Even though we met in 2015, I said one of these days I had to get you, and I finally got you. 10 years later, but I still got you. How about that?
It's a pleasure. I'm really glad. Yes. But I wanted to come on tonight and I actually tell everybody about our story. And I think by telling my story, it sounds so simple up front as far as what we went through and what we did. But there are so many components that go into it. And like I realize, and I can now identify with all the other kidney patients out there, that it's tough. They're the things that you face. And I think that I have some solutions or suggestions. I don't want to call them solutions, but suggestions that actually work for us that might just work for other people, that they don't have to reinvent the wheel if it's already there. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start off by telling you our story, how things actually happened. And then we can go back and maybe if people have questions and that kind of thing, revisit certain areas to pinpoint or highlight some of the really, turning points or key points in the journey. So what happened was I have two kids and they're only 14 months apart in age, but my eldest son, Alex, he was at Penn State. He's a baseball player at Penn State Altoona. And he graduated in 2013. And just 2 weeks after he graduated from college, he got extremely high blood pressure. So much so, it was really, really bad. He ended up in the hospital intensive care unit. They thought he was going to die. For 10 days, he was in intensive care. It was bad. But somehow they got this blood pressure under control. We don't have issues in our family, but they got it under control. And they discharged him from the hospital saying, we're going to follow you this summer. You remember May he graduated. And we're sure, even though you have a little bit of an impact here with your kidney function, we're sure because you're a student athlete, you're just going to bounce right back and you'll be just fine. Well, it didn't happen. By the time October 10th rolled around in 2013, Alex was told that he was in end-stage renal failure. His kidney function was like 17%. It was below 20%. And he was told that he had to prepare to go on dialysis and that really at this point in time, because he was only, 22 years old, that, he needed to start looking for a living donor because that would be better suited for him due to the fact that he was so young that a living organ from a living donor would be more suitable to give him more longevity. So we started preparing for dialysis. And I think a real crucial point there was that we had a really good nurse educator to help us and explain the different options that we had available for dialysis. And we made that choice. He chose to do home hemodialysis and I was his care partner. We went together through the training. He lived alone. We had bought him a townhome. He was going to live there after graduation. He was going to come to work in our insurance business. That's what we do for a living. And so we went through the training. We decided we were going to do that, but he didn't actually make it through the training. He didn't actually, we had to get his fistula and things like that. Didn't make it through all that because on December 1st, he crashed into dialysis, and that was another hospitalization. And we actually began home hemodialysis training at that time with like a chest catheter. And so the immediate attention after he was on dialysis and we went through the training was to actually focus on getting on the transplant wait list. And we had a great deal of difficulty doing that because the doctors were just completely convinced that this is just so unusual for somebody to get high blood pressure like that and so suddenly lose all of their kidney function. So it took us over 7 months to get on the transplant wait list. And then after we managed to do that, the time came for looking for a donor, to find a donor. And my background, I worked for AT&T initially for over 20 years. And my background was in sales and marketing. So what I did is I wrote up a sales plan, like on how to sell somebody on the idea of giving my kid a kidney. And so it was like terrific. It was really neat. I wrote down exactly how you would do it, like the sales process, what you have to go through. And a lot of that was based upon, do you remember in the days when we would get mail in our actual mailbox along the street and they would send magazines continually? You'd get all the same flyers all the time. Well, that's one of the concepts in sales. The more times you get something in front of somebody, the less or the more likely they are to buy from you and to bite on it. So that was what the foundation of my marketing plan was. In any event, what I did is I made myself a list of all the people that we knew, even remotely, places we work, schools, we attended. And I staggered it that I maybe did 1 or 2 per week and contacted them and asked them for help. And a big crucial part of that was when you ask somebody for help, you always have to tell them what's in it for them. You know what I mean? Like a whiff them, they call it in the sales industry. But because that means that you're going to give them something back. When you ask them to buy from you or take something, you want to make sure that you give back. So what my whiff them is that I made really sure that I would acknowledge their effort to help Alex find a kidney. And I used that acknowledgement by way of, I wrote them a handwritten letter, obviously, but I would promote on social media anytime anybody did anything, saying what a great guy they were, or what they did was really making a difference, and I thanked them publicly. Ultimately, what actually found Alex's kidney was, it turned out to be another alumni from Penn State. And the Penn State Alumni Association was one of the groups that I went to. And I asked them, could they please help me? My son was a graduate recently, and they did an article. They sent it out to all their alumni. And some guy in New Jersey, I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but some guy in New Jersey saw this. And he thought to himself, well, gee, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go give this kid a kidney. I know that I'll match up or whatever, because I'm just going to do it. So what he did, and we didn't know any of this is going on, because when you look for a donor, when they go through your transplant center and stuff, everything's very confidential and secretive, for privacy reasons and so forth. So what he did is he flew into Pittsburgh and he went to get tested, and he passed all the tests really well, except when the doctors came in to talk with him, they said, you can't give this kid your kidney, even though you're a match for him, because, you're too heavy. You need to lose 30 pounds. So what he did is he got back on the airplane. He flew back to New Jersey, and 6 months later, he had lost the 30 pounds, and he came back to Pittsburgh, and they gave him the approval to give his kidney to Alex. And we didn't know.
Wait a second. I love the fact that he's willing to lose the weight. He wasn't only willing to give up the kidney. He was willing to do what it took to give him the kidney.
Right.
So yeah, I love that. So I have to applaud that. Go donors, because donors rule. Continue.
Yes. So he went back to New Jersey, and he actually called his son up. His son went to Penn State, and he played on the baseball team with my son for just 1 year, and then he wasn't on the team. But my son Mr. Congeniality, remain friends with, it's a bond you make, with the kids. And so he called his son up and he said, son, that kid you played baseball with, that Alex, yeah. He says, well, why don't you invite him to our tailgate party next week up there at Penn State at the football game? And he says, and while you're at it, why don't you invite up, some of those other baseball kids that you played baseball with? So we worked. So he invited Alex, and we worked his dialysis around that he could go to the game. That's one of the beauties of doing home hemodialysis. You have freedoms. You can go and travel. You can do things. It was the perfect fit for a young kid. So he went up there at 7. The game was at noon, so he got up there like at 7 a.m. because they have this tailgate party. And he went and stepped up to the grill, and this guy's cooking stuff on the grill, and he says to him, Alex, I'm really glad you could make it. He said, what can I get you? And Alex said, well, I'll have a breakfast sandwich. And he said, well, is that all you want? He said, yeah. He says, I thought you wanted a kidney. And he said, well, yeah, I do need to, find a kidney donor, And he says, well, I'll tell you what, Alex, I'm giving you my kidney. When do you want it? Here's the approval, that I got from the transplant center. And so Alex, everything I am, he is not. In other words, he's very quiet, reserved, and everything about what he goes about. So he said to the guy, wow, can I call my mom? So he picks up his cell phone and he calls me at home at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. And he says, Mom, this guy, he gave me his name. He says, he's giving me his kidney. Do you want to talk to him? On the phone? And it was like, that was on September 12th, 2015. Okay, you remember these days? Yes.
You got the dates down to a science,
I do. That was on September 12th, 2015. So we were on dialysis from December of 2013.
That's my question. Yeah, go ahead.
To December or to September. Well, until the transplant was on November 9th of 2015. But that is really like how it happened. So he got his transplant, and after the transplant happened, everybody kept, well, I should tell you, before the transplant on Halloween, on October 31st, they had another really big tailgate party up at Penn State. And by really big, like over 200 people went to this. Okay. And there were people there from all over the place, all over the world, all over the United States. They came to celebrate, and everybody knew that John was doing this. He was giving Alex his kidney, and that everybody was asking him, like, what, how did you do this? Wow, this is like great, that kind of thing. So after the surgery, the donor made a post onto Facebook. We have the little tailgate group there. He made a post on there, and he said that the reason why he did that is that he wanted to give back, but he wanted to lead by example, because he said, here I am, having tailgate parties. I'm giving alcohol to kids over the age of 21, and they look up to me. And he said, I feel that they're looking up to me for the wrong reasons, and that everybody, should give back and to do something to make a difference. He said, I'm not telling people to go out and give parts of their body away, their organs, but I'm telling them that they really need to contribute back to society, because not only will they feel better, that they'd be helping other people as well. And he cited other people like who at Penn State, other students and stuff who were involved with Thon, which is the charity that raises awareness and money for cancer patients, for pediatric kidneys, or pediatric cancer patients and so forth. So that's why he did this. And he wanted to lead by example. And he talked about in his message, like how he struggled with his family early on. But he said, and even his wife commented too, after the fact, she made a post that they made the right decision because they met the family and they got to know the family, and it worked out. It was a really good thing.
It was a good marriage.
It was a good marriage. And moving forward, like we got the transplant and everything has been going pretty good, but you often hear people say it's a journey. It's one thing to another. Right now, we're 5 years out. During this journey here, we were only eligible to get the medications, covered for 36 months because he's under the age of 65. Insurance coverage was a really big issue. We've had to deal with a lot of other obstacles along the way. And in this past August, this summer, we had a little bout with organ rejection too. And there's like a lot you need to know about that. And that's the part of the chapter that we're writing right now, trying to make it through that. And I'm trying to learn more about that, albeit it's complicated. Yes. But it's like a complication that, if it affects your life or my son's life, I want to know about it, that kind of thing. So I'm inquisitive about that. And I feel really strongly, I'm a really big advocate of research, because it's not a matter of if that gifted kidney fails him someday. It probably will. And I don't want to go back and have to rely on age-old technology, which at that time would hopefully be dialysis. I'd like to see something else in the forefront there. So I'm a really big proponent of funding for research, participating in research projects, and promoting and engaging other people to get involved with research, because that's the only way it's going to happen, and the funding and so forth. So I'm an advocate in terms of with the officials, our local politicians and national politicians, to, pass legislation and to promote that type of legislation to help kidney patients. More recently, do you remember, I'm sure we're all involved with COVID right now, but when they passed that legislation, the second stimulus package, part of that, believe it or not, was to make sure and guarantee all organ transplant patients have access to and will be provided with immunosuppressant medications at no charge. And so if you're under the age of 65 and we're on Medicare, you can actually get back on Medicare or have Medicare cover those prescriptions if you can't afford them or you have no other means of paying for them. And it actually proved to be, this legislation, it's going to be a savings because people won't lose their organs and they won't have to go back on dialysis. So that just happened a couple of weeks ago, folks. It's an ongoing thing, and that was a really big thing. One of the other things too, that it's legislation now that has not happened, was the Living Donor Protection Act.
Bobby, hold it 1 second. While you was dealing with this and doing these things, how is this help affect your family? Because you're trying to get a kidney for your son, even though he ran right into the person that was giving him the kidney and everything. But while you were advocating and stuff for your son and you holding down a job, how did that affect your family? A lot of people deal with this type of thing and are faced with this thing, just like some of the other things you talked about.
It's an ongoing thing. It really did affect the family. Remember, Alex has a brother, and right. We had to focus on the most important thing right then and there was dealing with Alex's thing. And it almost pushed to his side, his brother, and he had needs and things too. They're very close in age. And like my husband and I had to take a sort of a backseat to our business, you know what I mean? Because the focus at hand was, my son. So we really had to bond together and try to fight our way through it. And it didn't end when Alex got his transplant. It's ongoing, and it affects the person too. Alex, it's mind-boggling. It just really is. It's a very emotional thing. And finding that donor, it just didn't come simply. I didn't just make a list and run out there and send a letter off to Penn State and get that. I went to I'd say 20 or 30 different people, anybody that I knew, any relationship I had, places of employment, high schools, colleges, everywhere, friends.
Run with it. That's right.
Go with it. And then one of the things I always like to mention and bring this in is that when I ran out of, I was getting very depressed and really down because my list was running out. I ran out of things on there. And I went to one of our relatives and I asked them, they work for a public relations firm. She also graduated from Penn State. And I said, do you think that you could put this out on your public relations firm network? For people that you, yeah. And, to help me out.
Right. Not, you don't have not, have not, if you ask not, the Bible talk about that.
Right.
You got to ask.
Right.
Put it out
there. You have to ask. And you know what? She came back at me and she said, no, I'm not allowed to do that. She says, but, and there's always a but.
I said, but.
She says, what I want you to do is I want you to send me everything that you did so far. no matter if it was just a handwritten note, anything that you did, anybody that you contacted, I want you to email it to me and send it to me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble my team of people who report to me. Remember, she's public relations. She was a team leader or whatever. And she says, I'm going to give them an assignment that they have to develop a new marketing plan for you. But the one condition of that is that they're not allowed to use anything or do anything that you already did. So and she did this quickly. In 2 days' time, I get a response from her with a list of things that I somehow overlooked. And usually I'm pretty thorough. But the first thing on the list is they said, she really needs to go back to her local church, go talk to the priest. We're Catholic, go back, talk to the priest, because churches have been known to be very philanthropic organizations and very caring and stepping in to help people. So I'm a list person. I took the first thing on the list, and that's what I decided to do. So I got in touch with the church. I went and had a meeting. It was like 2 hours long with our priest. And he said to me, he says, I haven't seen you around here much. I said, well, I guess I sort of had to focus on some other things. He says, well, he said, you really do need to come back to church and that kind of thing. He says, but I'm not going to deter that. He says, I am going to help you. He said, I'll bet you didn't know because you haven't been around here. But last year, a member of our church gave a kidney to a member of the church down the road because they needed a kidney. And I just about fell on the floor when he said that. But he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write up a thing for our bulletin on Sunday, and I'm going to put it out there, and hopefully we'll see you around here at church. So I said, great. Well, the next Saturday, Sunday came, he did a thing at the church. The next Saturday was September 12th, 2015. And that's when Alex's donor identified himself to us. So I do really think that a higher power intervened here. Probably, maybe he would have had, gotten that kidney, identified to him then, but maybe not. But that was really a changing moment for me as well, as part of that story. So I think people need to consider that.
Well, that's beautiful. And your marketing skills. I like that you use a technique or something that you learned from work and a marketing skill to also make a plan and use people to help you strategically get that plan together.
Right.
Wow.
That one of the, if people are listening and, trying to get down some ideas or actually learn about this, the National Kidney Foundation really did take my marketing plan and turn it into what we all know today as the big ask, big give. And it's a my marketing plan that teaches people how to go out and find living donors. And they came out with this a few years ago. Like I helped them do it. I filmed it for them. And they have had 2 versions of it so far. There may be another one coming out that's going to be completely online. But for people who want to get information about this and find out about it, it's called the Big Ask, Big Give. You want to contact either your local National Kidney Foundation office, or you can call this toll-free number. It's the NKF CARES telephone number. And that number is 1-855-653-2273. And ask them about the Big Ask, Big Give. That will really help you along your way in getting that information.
So that's good information that you're putting out there. And even because there's so many programs out there where we met AAKP, where you and I had met years ago in Tennessee and everything with the award giving and stuff like that. Is there anybody out there that you would like to encourage out there, or talk to a mother that may be trying to advocate for her son, her daughter, her child, her baby? What would you say to that parent out there before I end the show?
I think that you can definitely, I want people to know that they are more than welcome to contact me. I'm on Facebook. I'm under Roberta Reed, Wexford, Pennsylvania. It's near Pittsburgh. That's where you'll find me on there. I'm also on Twitter. It's at, like the @ sign, Bobby Reed 161. And I'm on LinkedIn as Roberta Reed, and it talks about all the different experiences and all the different organizations that I'm involved with. So I welcome you to contact me. More importantly, too, if you're looking for help in different areas, like Lisa just mentioned, the AAKP, go to their website. Membership's free. It's for patients and caregivers, and they're an excellent resource for all sorts of things, and they act on things when you ask them questions. So you can go right online and Google AAKP and sign up to be a member of the AAKP for free. Another thing, kidney.org, which is the National Kidney Foundation's actual website. There's all kinds of things on there, both for nutrition, for advocacy, that type of thing. And by the way, since I mentioned advocacy, I really think that people should consider becoming advocates for the National Kidney Foundation and the AAKP, because you can learn from other advocates just like myself who have been through things. You can throw a question through their internet, their intercommunications that they have on their Facebook pages and stuff, and you can get answers right away from somebody just like myself who has been there and who has done that. Right. And I think that's really important too, Lisa.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got the renal network. You got the end stage renal disease network, iPro, and I'm a health ambassador with them, mentor for them, and what have you as well, and Polycystic Kidney Disease Foundation.
That's true. Now, and the American Kidney Fund too. Let's not forget about them.
They're very good too.
To financially support people with having difficulties with kidneys. They also have advocacy. They have information on nutrition. They have webinars. Those kind of things. They're all resources out there that you can do right at the touch of your fingertips from home. I mean, it's easy rather than having to run here or run there or go do something. It's especially in these days and times that we're in. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Well, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, like a lot of my coworkers, or I call them coworkers or my friends, Candy Gagney, Judy Rosenstein. I actually, for the National Kidney Foundation, I'm a regional leader for their kidney advocacy committee. And I'm a co-leader actually, and it encompasses 9 states in the United States where we all band together and promote things and advocate for kidney patients. I'd like to give a shout out for research. If you have the opportunity, ask your doctors, when you go to your appointments, if you're suffering now with kidney disease, is there any research or anything that you need to make me aware of that I can learn more about, to spread your wings a little bit more? Because who knows, maybe that trial that comes along might be the one just for you that changes your life. You don't know. It's like an unknown that's there.
Amen. Amen.
Right.
You ain't never lied.
Jim Myers, Jim, don't you, Lisa? He's a great advocate. And he does help kidney patients. He'll help you set up like a page on Facebook if you want to have like a donor page or or an advocacy page to help you find a kidney. But Jim Myers, it's another one to, and you find out about these things through Facebook.
Jonathan, can't, there's so many out there that have so much love for a kidney patient and for people that's ill, because that's one thing the show is about. It reflects this mostly, but anybody that's ill that need an advocate, need help. That's the social worker inside of you that will always do that kind of thing. I'm a social worker, but you have been a wonderful guest. We've talked on the phone, behind the scenes, before the show started. I ain't mad at you. You are forced to be reckoned with, and you're doing a fantabulous, beautiful, outstanding job. Oh my goodness. And thank you again for reaching out and reconnecting with me. I appreciate that very much. But I'm going to end the show. Mr. Belcher got a show at 9:00, Nurse Belcher. And I just wanted to thank you again for being on the show.
Oh, thanks. Anytime, Lisa. I'll come back if you want to get into, more of these things in detail, or you want to fine tune some things. Hey, I'm your person. I'm willing to help you out.
Oh, I like that about you. We here. All right. Cool. Way cool. Thank you so much. Bless your life.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, guys, you have heard it. You have heard all about it. Thank you to my beautiful guests and all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your prayers for my back procedure that I had on Tuesday. Thank you for my birthday being next week on January 15th. Going to be 58 years old. I'll leave a scripture with you. I hope I can read it in my room here. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That's Psalms 119 and 105. God's word just leads us and it gives us the light and directs our path. How about that? V for victory. See you next week. I have another fantabulous guest. Good night. Love you. Peace.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
My girl, and say, this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is